Hi, guys, and welcome to the 10th Three Man Meta podcast. Sorry for the delay, but we're here now, and that's all that matters. I'm Leighton, and with me as ever, I've got James and some random guy called Danny. Today, we're going to be talking about the UK Nationals. We've also got three cards that we want to discuss from the latest set. A listener has also requested that we discuss Mace, one badass motherfucker Windu, and lastly, we are going to talk about the prize draw from our giveaway. So, how are you boys doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I won a little tournament here in the UK called the UK Nationals, so riding that high still 2 weeks later, it's pretty good.
I'm good. I did not win a tournament called the UK Nationals or even attend the UK Nationals. But other than that, I'm good.
Well, you valiantly battled for the trophy, if I remember rightly. The day after, or a couple of days after, we got back to Norwich for
Yeah,
a
that was
packet
the
of crisps
real
and a trophy. That was pretty good.
that was the real challenge, wasn't it? Really, the Marmite crisps that I didn't even want versus Danny's national trophy.
Yeah,
It was an admirable.
I mean that's where you could have been national champion, right? You just had to win 2 games, which is significantly less than anyone else that day had to play to win, and you lost your chance.
Your deck is
Um,
broken.
I'm
Shut
not.
up.
I'm not sure I would gamble my trophy away in another best of three again, but maybe message me. We'll talk. We'll talk.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I don't know. Is this Danny postulating that he's a good player, or is this Danny just trying to prove to you, James, that he thinks you're a terrible player by betting his trophy against a packet of crisps?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it needed. It's a hell of an exclamation mark on a statement that we all knew. I'm the worst player, but it's fine. I'm getting over it slowly.
Yeah,
The new set. Who knows what comes with the new set? You never know.
yeah. So it was only 2 days after I won it, so I was feeling very best in the UK at that point. It's kind of settled down a bit. I probably wouldn't do it again.
Cool. Okay, then, so we'll get on to talk about UK Nationals. So unfortunately, James couldn't attend to the tournament, but Danny and myself went down, and we also brought our +2 modifiers, Steve and Simon. We had a lovely 6.5 hour train journey from Norwich to Liverpool, where
Yeah,
we specifically got a table so we could play some Destiny. And yeah, I had no idea what I wanted to play really before we went to the event. And through a few games on the train, we decided to build a deck on the train, didn't we? Because you were still up
yeah,
in armor what you wanted to play, weren't you, Danny? You were
yeah.
still
So
in two minds.
yeah, I was torn between the deck I took, FN Kylo, and then the deck that you took, Baby Vader, New Phasma. Uh, and it was a real 50-50 tough split, and we're just sat there the day before nationals testing these new decks in the 2 week meta, trying to work out what we should take and what were the best cards. And it was a really productive 6.5 hour train journey, I found.
Yeah, I didn't leave my seat once, even to go to the toilet. I was plunked in my little window seat by the table, and there I was until we reached Liverpool. Because I was going to go with Pomads. I mean, I figured you could have a lot. I figured at that point, before the two player set came out, there'd be a lot of Rainbow Nines. You'd see, or maybe Funkar. So I figured 3 player setups would be quite popular. So I thought Pomaz is going to be pretty good. It's a long old day, so you want your games one and done by round 3, which is usually what Pomaz does. But then obviously when the 2 player set dropped, it completely and utterly rocked everyone's Destiny world, and with these very strong new characters and a couple of good upgrades and a couple of good events. So it was good. It was good deck testing time. Well, some of the deck testing was when Danny was playing the deck and I was sitting next to him, and we were like discussing what plays to make. And then when we finally got to our room after we had a few drinks down the pub, we put a few cards
Okay.
in. Yeah, I made the call to put all in my deck, and MVP of the day, definitely for me. But enough about me because I didn't win the thing. So let's why don't Danny, he can walk us on his victorious journey to becoming the national champion.
Ooh, I like that. You can say that again at any point. Um, so day
What Danny
one,
will walk us through his journey. That bit is that the bit you want me to repeat?
yeah, sounds good. So day one was 675 players, so we had a bye, but that meant 7 rounds of Swiss, best of ones, top cut to 16 leading into day two. And I've said on the Chance Cube, and I said on the Knights of Ren kind of day stream, that I didn't feel like I was going to do well this tournament after hearing everyone's kind of, well, not everyone's, but a lot of people's responses from like their Gen Con experience, where they're like, oh, I did quite well, but lost in the the middle kind of rounds, and then so I just dropped because there was no chance of me getting through. I thought, well, this is probably my time. I've won a lot of like kit tournaments. I won my store champion, and then then got like top 4, top 8s and other store championships. So, and also my top 10 at European. So I was feeling, this is going to be my dud. Obviously it wasn't. But I kind of sat down. My first game was against Eve Baby Vader, single die General Grievous, which I was feeling confident about. It's not, it's a deck that's got a lot of numbers, but a lot of those numbers need pay sides or kills Baby Vader. So FN did FN things, just rolled sick damage and crushed him, unfortunately. The next game, I don't think I would have.
Unfortunately, I crushed my opponent. Oh, damn. That was an unfortunate game.
Yeah, it was. My next game was against a deck that really took me by surprise, and it was E Luminara, E Ray. And speaking to the guy, he just really likes a Luminara, which is fair enough. Obviously, people do play this game to have fun and play the characters they enjoy and the settings they enjoy. But I played a win, and I did.
Well, we've had this discussion before, maybe necessarily on the show, but in just in general conversation. I think when you go to like a big event, like I would class big events like store championships and nationals, regionals, those sort of things. I'd even class the store championships a big event because there's good prizes on the line. You have to put those fun decks to the side. Fun decks are all well and good if you want to go to like a Q kit where there's some tokens and an old art you might not necessarily bothered about unless you're like me and want to collect them all. Yeah, that's fine. Play your decks that you enjoy. Play the characters from the films you like. But I think if you're going to go to a national event, you can't be annoyed and at the fact that there's going to be a lot of the similar top tier decks there. And it's not the best place, I think, to play a character who is grossly overcosted and terrible. But credit to him. He obviously he had fun. He's a man of principle, so you can't take that away from him.
Not at all. So I was feeling pretty confident. Like my first 2 games were against, not meta decks, and I was playing, probably the best or second best meta deck going. So I was feeling good. The next game was against E Vader Awakenings and single die Phasma, which is what one of our +2 modifiers, Simon, was playing the weekend. So I'd got some games in against it. And it is a deck that completely falls apart once you kill Darth Vader. Single dice Phasma just doesn't do enough in that deck. I do remember that game being like really close. So I think there was only about 1 hit point going in it. So it was tough, and leadership was definitely a big factor in that matchup. Rolling out Vader when he hits the sticks, it's painful. It's painful times. Then round 4, I played against New Phasma, E Kylo, so the starter deck box suite of characters, which I am not a personal fan of. I feel Kylo is better than New Phasma at the moment until he gets his impending nerf. And if you're going to play E Phasma, then you should play E Baby Vader just for the special synergy. Which is, why Leighton ended up taking that deck, because, in the dream when you roll out those 4 specials and do 12 damage, I imagine that's got to feel pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons why I played all in. So I guess instead of having my own time to stand on the soapbox, I'll just interject when you talk. Basically, yeah, like going back to also talking about the Daddy Vader with Phasma. That deck has obviously got a lot of potential with leadership and also with the price of failure. But your opponent's always going to go after Vader first if they know how to play against that deck. And one of Vader's misgivings is he only has 2 damage sides. They're big damage sides, a 2 and a 3. But if he doesn't roll sticks, then you're essentially not doing anything. It's pretty, I always like Big Vader for his choking effect. That he makes you discard a card every time, so you essentially have 4 cards in a round, and it limits your options, limits your rerolls, limits things you want to play. But I played against that deck 4 times throughout the event and spanked it every time, because like you say, when Vader dies, Phasma doesn't really do a whole great deal. And one of the reasons why I love the other deck with Emo Vader is, and why again All In was so good, is you're playing 3 different damage sides. You're playing range damage, melee damage, and special damage, because both characters have got specials that deal damage. And that's why All In was just so good. Like the amount of times I would just have a holocron on a focus and all character dice out, and maybe only saying like 1 gun on Phasma, a blank on Vader, and a 2 on Vader, and even with Phasma's focus as well, like All In, you can swing around so much and you can just get all your damage out. In some, I think in one of my games, I dealt 12 damage to a Darth Vader in round 1.
That's actually disgusting.
It's just ridiculous. I rolled out with Vader. I hit like special blank, and I put the holocron on Phasma and rolled out 2 guns, 2 guns special and focus on the holocron. So then so some combination of moving focuses around. I did my 3 guns, so my 3 with Vader, and then I did I think I had double. I think I did roll out the nuts. I think I definitely rolled out double specials on the Vader. Double specials on Vader, then a focus on. Anyway, what I did was I went special with Vader for 3, special with Vader for 3, special with Vader for Phasma, which now was 3, and then used the focus from the holocron to turn Phasma to another special, which now obviously is 3 damage. So spanking.
You did live the dream.
Yeah, it was the dream. But then there's other times where, because again, the only upgrades in that deck that I was really running and I was putting on my characters were 4 speed and holocron, and obviously 4 speed has got a focus on it as well. Yeah. So there's so many times where I could do an all-in play and then hit them for a lot of specials, a lot of damage, have that 1 dice sitting there, and then obviously they'd do their turns, and I'll then spend my resources to do some mitigation, and then before they'd claim, I'll then take the claim, because obviously I was playing the throne room, to then change either the Phasma dice or the Vader dice to the other 3 damage to get big hits. So that deck has got so much damage potential, because essentially you've got Darth Vader's got 4 damage sides on his dice. He's got the 1 gun, which normally is a really bad side and still not an optimal side. But when you're playing another character with guns and with All In, sometimes if it's just what you got, just take the 1 gun. Just take the 1 gun if it gets the kill, or get some damage, which then allows you to set up for a kill.
Yeah,
and obviously he's got his 2 sticks.
Damage, so.
Yeah, he's got his 2 sticks, his 3 sticks for 1, and his special. And then Phasma's got her 1 or 2, and her special, which is 2 and then 3. So it's got a lot of damage potential. Having 4 dice at the start is always nice. It is sometimes harder to win that roll off, because again, you're with specials being the value of 0, you are rolling essentially 4 dice with 2 blanks on each. So it can be difficult to get that battlefield, but that's where New Orders comes in. And playing 2 copies of New Orders is essential. And there were times as well where after Mulligan, if I had New Orders in my opening hand, then I would, like, even if I won the roll, I'd let them have their battlefield, so I get the shields, and then then obviously my last action of the round would be right on New Orders, and then turn 1 of these dice to damage, and then you benefit from the shields, and now you've got your battlefield, which this deck really wants. So I think it is a real deck, and I think even with the new expansion come out, it's still going to be a real deck. I can't really sing enough praises things. So it's definitely going to be I think I'm going to keep it as my competitive deck for a little while anyway. But yeah, carry on. I've probably completely stolen your trail of thought, Danny. What you were talking about?
No, that's fine. It's like a lot of good insight there on the deck, and that is the kind of the big thing at the moment, that everyone's trying the new Empire at War decks, and they're trying like new character combinations, and I feel like the traditional character combinations are just sitting by the wayside at the moment. But you've still got to think Poe Maz is still going to be deadly. And Phasma Vader is going to be deadly, and you've got to think about all these old decks while you're still testing against all these new decks. So,
well, looking at the new set come out, there's basically 1 card from the new set that I've put into that deck, and that's Endurance, and that's the only card from the current setup that I've put into it, because the other cards are great. Don't get me wrong, there's so many good cards from this new set, and we are going to go and we'll talk about 9 of those cards later on in the show, but it was such a strong deck already, and it just needed that 1 little extra card, which is Endurance, which is just so good because the deck is so focused on the character dice. But I played a lot of strong meta decks throughout. So just in case you guys didn't know, I came 3rd because Danny beat me in the semi-final. So I'm going to class that as 3rd. It's technically top 4, but strength of schedule, that's 3rd. And there's only really 1 game I had, which I'd say was against someone similar to what you had, was someone who was just playing sort of for the fun. So I played against a Elite Akbar 2 hired guns deck, and I was terrified about the him getting enough to do planned explosions, which he never did. And then after we had the game, I asked him, "Do you have planned explosion in your deck?" And he's like, "No, I don't." I was like, "Okay." So I was playing around, worrying about planned explosion, something that he never had. But most, like I said, I played against Elite, Vader, Phasma 4 times, and Vader Raider. At least I played against Vader, not Vader Raider, sorry, Vader Guard in the Swiss once, who beat me round 1. Then I got my revenge on him in the Top Cut. I think my top 8 game was against him. Yeah, and I got my revenge.
I seem to have quite good luck when I'm going through kind of these big tournaments with a lot of rounds, because I've played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so all 7 decks I played in the Swiss were different, and I played all different decks in the Top Cut as well. Very good diversity.
I think we both got lucky. We both dodged Pomaz, but I think we would have probably been all right against Pomaz. I think I'd like if I can do that big roll and hit 12 damage in like round 1, just kill their post straight away.
Yeah,
I think I haven't done a test against it yet, but I would imagine the matchup might be pretty favourable on my side. I think so. I have cards like deflect, so if those 2 guns or 3 for 1 guns sitting there get rid.
Yeah,
and I claimed quite early to have the battlefield, so I play high ground, removing other dice. I played 2 copies of the best defense, so like when Danny and I had our store championship final, I was playing Pomaz against his Phasma Guavian Gary deck, and he just best defense by Po dice 2 rounds in a row.
So good.
It's so painful. It really is painful. So I think the match would be quite favourable for that. But the tournament was definitely, I think, just before Danny carries on for his journey, because his journey is obviously a lot more interesting than mine, because he ultimately won the thing. I think the tournament ran a lot better than the Euros. For instance, we only did, was it 7 rounds of Swiss or 8
7 rounds of Swiss?
7 rounds of Swiss, and we cut to 16, which was really good. A lot better than 10 rounds cutting to 8. I know there was obviously significantly less players, but it's just a lot less fatiguing. I think everyone kind of seemed a lot more happy. Like even when we come into like rounds like 6 and 7, like we had a long odd day of Destiny, but people were still, pretty happy. Everyone was chatting. There was lots of people giving away free bits and pieces. Like I got some really nice Darth Vader helmet, shield tokens, and we were giving away like some bits and pieces. So everyone was quite, was in a good mood. But definitely by like rounds 8, 9, and 10 at the Euros, everyone was like, "I'm done. Just let's play our game. No, hello, how you doing? Sit down." That's where the conversation ended.
But just imagine playing all 10 games, finishing 10th, and not making the top 8 cut. That must have been awful. I would hope.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I guess that would be, or going on a really hot win streak, and they're losing 2 games because you made 2 misplays. So therefore didn't make it either.
Right. So carrying on,
and also having to be in a room with someone who snores like a beast. So
there it is.
So when we went to this tournament, we got ourselves a nice little apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, and we made Danny sleep on a sofa bed in the living room.
I want to point out I dragged the single mattress out of the bedroom in top of the sofa bed because
so it looked pretty luxury, really, did it? You were about 4 foot in the air.
Yeah,
it looked quite luxury.
It was like a throne, right?
Yeah, and I had a room to myself, and then Steve and Simon had a room that was en suite, so it was all pretty luxury. We all got a good night's sleep. It was good, so there was no excuses for this tournament. I think that's why we came 1st and 3rd, Danny, because
I didn't tactical warfare you.
No, like I actually managed to get at least 6 hours sleep as opposed to 6 minutes sleep for every tournament we've ever done when we've travelled somewhere. So
at least you didn't have to sleep next to him for Euros.
I slept next to him at Northampton Store Championships. Can you not remember?
Oh yeah. How was that?
That was awful. I put my headphones on and was listening to music and still could hear every now and again.
Well, my girlfriend doesn't mind, so that's my feedback.
It's your girlfriend. I reckon she could sleep through Armageddon if she can sleep next to you. I'm a deep sleeper, but it's just the getting to sleep. And Danny has this. I mean, I thought I was good at falling asleep early, like quickly. Sorry, like my wife, like often, she laughs about it, but like she goes to bed and about 10:30 because she had to get up really early for she works in a school. And then I normally go to bed till midnight. So I'll come up to bed, wake her up as I get into bed, and then instantly fall asleep. And she's like, you fucking asshole. But at least I'm quiet when I'm asleep. But Danny I remember when we were in. You remember when Euros, James, when we literally right, had lights off, we've been chatting. Let's stop this. Let's go to sleep now. And I'm not even joking. Like 3 heartbeats later, I heard snoring.
Oh yeah, it was
I
like,
was like, what is going on?
TV, yeah, it was insane.
It's literally like a light switch just been flicked off, and it's nothing but dreams. So it's definitely it's an impressive skill you've got there.
Yeah, the most important thing about winning Destiny tournaments is having a very good night's sleep beforehand.
Yeah, and you can get this confirmed from national champ. Sleep well.
Get your sleep, drink your water, people. Very important. Right.
Keep hydrated.
keep hydrated, well rested, and buy a loaf of fruit loaf, and then don't eat any of it, and leave it at your table when you're done.
That tip has very niche applications, but you can try it if you wish.
Right. So continuing on with my journey, so I am currently 4-0, feeling pretty good. You only had to win. One of the 5-2s wouldn't get through, but the fact I'd won my first 4 games basically guaranteed me. First 4 games basically guaranteed me, and I just needed to win 1 more game.
Sorry to interrupt again. Wasn't it only one of the 5-2s wouldn't make it because we had some drops? Like if everyone would have technically played out their games out, then there would have been more 5-2s not made it, wouldn't there? But
no, it still would have only been 1 5-2, but because of drops, we got a bit better. So yeah, my next game was against Awakening Vader Royal Guard, which was a deck. After beating, I think Phasma is a better pair than Royal Guard. You can get the big No Mercy plays, but Kylo's got his disrupt side, so as long as you're taking those disrupts at the right time, and kind of feeling out when they're going to go for that big No Mercy swing, the price of failure to reroll Invader wasn't worrying me after I'd just played a game 2 rounds before where I got leadership twice. And FN just did disgusting, rolling in loads of weapons and just butchered Vader. And then once Vader's dead, Royal Guard isn't going to do much to you. I do remember though that Royal Guard wasn't rolling that 2 melee side, which I think Leighton, you had a bit of an issue with a Royal Guard. He kept doing that to you, didn't you?
Well, yeah, the chap in the first round, I think he kept hitting 2 sticks nearly every single time.
Yeah, it makes Vader Guard pretty brutal when that guard shows up every single round with that 2 melee side. So I'd won my 5th game, so I was like, okay, I could lose my next 2, and I'm through, so it doesn't matter. But I'm going to carry on playing because I come to play games of Destiny. Even if I had lost my first 4 games, I would have played through to the end. And my next game was against E Qui-Gon E Rey, which I was a bit surprised to see at round 6 on table 1. At this point, chatting to the guy, he has literally played Qui-Gon since Awakenings, and had slotted in there were a number of cards from the 2-player set which were quite nice. Luke's Protection definitely regened him a lot of damage or health during that game, but I ended up losing that game mainly because FN died with 2 Vibro Knives on him. Rey just rolled out absolute nuts, and he did like 8 damage to FN at the start of round 2, or like mid round 2, and I just didn't see it happening. So with the loss of Vibro Knife, hindsight, I should have played the second Vibro Knife on Kylo, because I ended up killing Rey, and then Qui-Gon had like 4 damage on him, and Kylo was on 4 health. And obviously with Kylo's special, I'm getting 2 damage every round, which could have just knocked the shields off, so he couldn't ping me, and Vibro Knife would have just let me punch through the damage, because I was just rolling so much damage with Kylo, after I'd equipped some more weapons onto him, like riot batons, but he just had too many shields, and just ground me down, so I lost that game. And was worried about facing him in the top 16 if it happened again, realizing that Vibro Knife was so important for that matchup. If I didn't draw it, and then that kind of stops you doing the shenanigans with FN if you have to equip your Vibro Knife to Kylo first. So last game though was against what I thought was Rainbow Nines. He flipped over E Balor, he flipped over FN 2199, But then he flips over the new Phasma, so didn't have access to Night Sister, so no Boundless Ambition. So I was feeling pretty good, and it went really good. I ended up beating him FN. You know, it's just ridiculous. You just keep overriding weapon after weapon. Guessing the right color with Kylo during Swiss, I only got that wrong twice or 3 times throughout those 7 games. So Kylo really, showed up, and really feeling out what your opponent has in their deck and looking through their discard pile to see what they've played. New Kylo is so strong when you kind of really dial in and think about what cards your opponent's playing.
I really like the evolution of the cards. Like you look at sort of like the Awakenings Kylo, his ability, dealing damage based on a reveal card and what his side's got, and then the new Kylo, which has got a higher cost. He's got like, it's like a Pokemon evolving. His ability has got better.
Yeah,
it's like a more consistent ability. Definitely good. And also, the thing I want to say as well is, like on like a card, like it says like the name, and then like Ray, she's like what Force Prodigy, what she's got on hers. I think it should say FN219, fun and interactive. That should be what's underneath his name.
Yeah. I mean,
fun interactive, and in the corner, Ben Brode's laughing face. So about 2% of the people that listen to our show might get that Hearthstone reference, but
the deck that I played, it's been plastered around everywhere, so most of you've seen it. It's on the YouTube video now. If you're listening to us, it's all over our Facebook as well. It was great. I've made some alterations with the Empire at War stuff, and I haven't lost a game with it since Empire War had come out either. So it's a really strong deck, and we're just awaiting that almighty FN nerf. So I finished day 1 with a 6-1 record. There was a little bit of a mess up with my strength for schedule, so I ended up finishing 4th when I should have been 2nd. But
yeah, it was really weird, wasn't it? It was basically like, so Danny's his first part of the strength for schedule was identical to the person who comes 2nd, wasn't it? But then it was like the model. Then the second part, what's called the advanced strength for schedule, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And your numbers were higher, but yet they placed you 3rd, and it was like, okay, because we were trying to work out, weren't we, like who would face who in the top 16, like if it would go first versus 16th, 2nd versus 15th, and all that jazz.
And we had worked out that if I had actually finished 3rd, then I would have to have played Simon in the top 16, and you don't want to knock your mate out in the top 16, after you've both had 7 grueling games the day before. So I kind of kept it quiet. So I'd play a different opponent, and we'd meet people, meet each other later on in the rounds. So how did you finish on your day 1, Leighton?
I came 9th overall with 5-2. So I lost round 1 to one of the guys who went 6-1. Or did he go undefeated? Or no one went undefeated, did they? There was 2 6-1s at the end. Yeah, so he went 6-1. He was, I think he lost to the Qui-Gon Ray, I believe, in the last round, because he was literally, because we were on like table 2, I think it was, round 1, and I went from table 2 to bottom table after round 1. So I was like, oh boy, I really need to make sure I win and jump up those tables for any hope of strength for schedule getting me through if I go 5-2. But I finished 9th, so obviously he helped me with the strength schedule staying quite high. So I lost to him, and then I lost to AFN 219s and Kylo deck. But I was 1 action away from winning the game. So yeah, I had he had 1 card. Basically, his Kylo was left on 3 health, and he had 1 card in hand and 1 Kylo dice out, and I was going first. So I claimed. So my idea was, I'm going to roll out, and then he'll roll out, and then I'll just claim the battlefield. So I think he had 2 Kylo dice, whatever it was. I can't remember exactly because not like Danny where he's made notes. I've not made any notes. I think it was like, even if he would have rolled out and called the number and got it correct, he wouldn't have killed my character. So he needed to get, I think there was like a modifier already on the table, and he had 1 card left in hand and a blank Kylo dice, and he needed to roll into the 2 sticks. He had no money, so even if he'd gone into 2 for 1, he wouldn't have won. If he'd gone into 1 stick, he wouldn't have won. And then I could obviously, and I had Tactical Mastery in my hand because Phasma was my last character. That was it. I remember that now. So I would just Tactical Mastery, roll, and then claim. So it didn't even have to worry about the Kylo rolling and getting the number correct. Sorry, the color correct. But he re-rolled that one and obviously hit the 2 sticks and then beat me. And then he said, "Oh yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it tomorrow because I'm getting a train at 9 o'clock." And I was like, "What?" I was like, I said to him, "Do you want to just mark that I won then, mate? You know, just if you can't make it tomorrow." But he just looked at me, didn't say nothing, and walked away. Which I thought was quite funny.
Yeah.
But I was like, "Oh, that put me 4-2." So I just knew I had to win my last game, and my last game was against my 4th Vader Phasma deck.
Yeah.
Which I'd already won 3 of, so I was pretty confident that I'd be able to beat it. I think he rolled out his Vader and rolled out 2 sticks, 3 sticks. So I best defensed it, and then he he just did a leadership, rolled out again, and got a bit of damage. But I just had the big all-in plays. When we were talking about the deck, because when you'd first made it, you hadn't put Mind Probe in, was that right? You had put Mind Probe in your version, had you, Danny, when we were playing it on the train? And then when we got to the place we were staying, Simon was like, put Mind Probe in, because I was thinking about putting in Force Training, because Force Training's obviously got a gun, it's got +2 melee, and it's got a special, and the special's all right, it's damage, shield, or money. But it plays into the 3 types of damage that the deck has, and it only costs 2. It's only spot blue, so you get it out nice and early, and it's still an ability, so it's still going to be holocroned on. But then, I swapped them out from the Mind Probes, and there was a couple of times where the dream was achieved, where you roll in, I've hit special, I'll change that for a Mind Probe, I'll pay 1, roll in the Mind Probe, sweet, special, 5 damage. So that definitely come into play a couple of times. Mind Probe was really good. So
as well, especially with so much boundless ambition. Mind Probe was just such a good call. I don't know why we didn't clue onto that earlier. So thanks, Simon, for that.
Yeah, it's got 2 special sides, and it's even got 3 guns for 1. So again, it synergizes with the other with Phasma if you want to go for a big gun play. Yeah. So it's really good. So after day 1, when I made the cut, I was like, I really wish I could make changes to my deck, because there was 4 cards I wanted to take out, because I had logistics in there. Didn't cast logistics all day. Because obviously only Phasma's got the money side, so because I was also running the Riot Control Batons, and I didn't play a Riot Control Baton all day either. It's hard to have the money to pay upgrades if you roll the 3 sticks for 1, or sometimes if you get the nuts and you roll 2 3 sticks for 1 on Vader, you can't turn down 6 damage. So you need to have the money for it. And upgrades like Holocron and Force Speed, they're just there really. I mean, Force Speed is obviously great for its speed, giving you 2 actions to later roll and resolve unimpeded, but the focus is where what you really want it for, and it's a free upgrade. And then got Force Illusion, and did have 2 copies of Holdout Blaster, which is still currently in the deck, and that's still a card that's the one slot that I'm unsure about. It comes into play at times because obviously you put the Holocron on Phasma, because normally players go after the Vader first, so you put the Holocron on Phasma, which allows me to, if I have another Force Speed, I'll Holocron a Force Speed onto her, and then I can put another Holocron on her, then hopefully try and get the Mind Probes on her. But if they then start gunning after that person instead, so I had one game where a person put damage into Vader, and then because I managed to get the Mind Probe onto Phasma, they saw Phasma as the bigger target, so they started gunning after Phasma. So then on that one game when Phasma was about to die, I swapped out my Mind Probe for a Holdout Blaster, which then allows me to do some shenanigans. And then obviously you've got a redeploy, so I get to play it for free. So it's mainly just there for the redeploy and as a late game card, because other considerations would be cards like Vibranife, but Vibranife has no redeploy. And the thing is, there's no point your melee going through shields when your gun damage and your shield, so your special damage, is going to hit shields anyway. So Vibranite's not really a consideration. Riot Control obviously has the redeploy, but it's a 3 cost. It's hard to get 3 resources. Very rarely you'll take a resource over into the next round, because other resources you might be paying it for removal. Cards like Clash was so good. I had to explain to quite a few people on Clash that I didn't have to fulfill all parts of the card, because it's not an and, it's a full stop on the next part. So I can just change one of my dice to melee side, not affecting your dice in any way. Or if Phasma's my only character, I can change your melee dice to blank and not change my dice in any way. Had to tell that about 3 people. Were you sitting near me when someone played a spot card and didn't have the spot? And I told them, no, that card goes into your discard pile now, pal.
Yeah.
That's your action.
Yeah.
Didn't feel bad in the slightest. So just in case people don't realise that, the card in question was Friends in Low Places, which is spot a yellow character, your opponent reveals their hand, and obviously you get rid of an event. Well, the restriction to play the card is not the spot. That's just the first part of the text of the card. So they play the card hits the table, we read the first part of the text, spot a yellow character. You have no yellow character alive. You cannot do the rest of the text. Your action is spent playing this card. It's not an illegal move whatsoever. If it can be used tactically, if you're playing against an opponent that has Mind Probe and you've got a big hand and you might want to play that card first to get out of your hand to reduce the Mind Probe coming in by one. It is a legit play, and there may be other applications that you can think of. But yeah, if someone plays a spot card, as long as it doesn't say to play this card spot character, like for instance, Force Training says to play spot blue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not just spot blue, it's to play this card spot blue. If it just says spot and you haven't got the spot, they play the card. If it costs a resource, they've lost a resource, lost a card from their hand, and it's now your action. And that blew someone's mind. He was like, "Can I take it back?" And I was like, "No."
It's like a lot of people I was talking to when I was clashing them, and again was explaining, that you can do half the text, it's fine, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't read a lot of that at all," and I was like, "Yep." So it's really important, especially when new cards drops, that you read them. You don't do a tiny and half read them and kind of know what they're on about and call them bad. You read the whole text.
That's shot fired there, Danny. Just because you've won a national championship, you feel you can go after the biggest fish in the pond.
Well, I'm sure he's the first one to agree that he definitely half understands cards and then throws them in a bad pile, because there are definitely really good cards. There are cards that could be good, and then there are awful cards. And
it happens all the time. Like when we were playing last night, and when James was doing Sabine stuff with bloody heavy blaster pistols, and because the first week, because everyone, when they first saw Sabine, everyone just got transfixed on the thermal part of her ability. They thought, "Oh, thermal detonators," and then if they bring up new thermal cards, it's going to be amazing. It's not limited to thermal cards. You can do other things.
Which we're going to get onto Sabine in a bit. But I think we're kind of running a bit long, so we should just finish up this top 16 and then.
The last thing I want to say about the whole national championships is basically, like, for me, my aim was to make the cut. My goal was to make the cut. I didn't make the cut, and I finished 40 odd in the Euros, and I was very disappointed in myself for making 2 play mistakes in 2 games, and essentially throwing those games because of those play mistakes, which then really hindered my final placing. And I've been very consistent in tournaments that I've gone to, like, to always make the cut, not just locally, but when we've travelled. I've always made the cut. So that was my goal: make the cut and get the tokens, just because I like having the official stuff. And then once we'd made the cut, and obviously me, Danny, and Simon all made it. Unfortunately, Steve hadn't made the cut. He finished 4-3, hadn't he? We were like, right, now we've made it. You can't lose your first game. You can't make the cut, make it to day 2, and then go out game 1. The mat is the prize. We must win the mat, the amazing Grievous mat. So when I paired off against, what was my first pair? My first pairing game was against another Vader Phasma. I was like, okay, I've got this. This is going to be good. And then when I got my mat, I was over the moon. And I remember saying to Danny, like, any win I get from here onwards it's just like I've gone beyond expectations. And then when we won the top 4 game, we got a nice bit of perspex. That's when we both started thinking, oh, this could be it. We could be doing this. And then it was that terrible draw when the semi, because then we looked at the table position, we knew that me and Dan would be playing each other in the semis. And based on the Europeans one, we thought, right, if the winner gets to take a friend to America, because that's what they said on the European one. Surely Nationals is going to be the same. So before we knew we were playing each other in the semi, we're like, all we've got to do is both get in the final, and we're both going to America, guaranteed. This is going to be amazing. And then when we played against each other, we're like, right, here's a gentleman's agreement. Whoever wins this game better bloody win the final, so they can take the other one to America. So obviously, when Danny beat me, we had a really good game. We played it out. It was a good game. I can't say things went wrong for me whatsoever, but things obviously went very well for Danny with his boundnesses, throwing out lots of weapons at me and just spanking me, because that's what FM219 does. Yeah. And then we got into the final, and I was jeering Danny on for 3 reasons. So we'll go for the selfless reason first. I want my mate to win. He's made it all the way to the final. We've travelled down. This is going to be great. I want my mate to win. Other reason, it's obviously really fantastic for our show. You know, having me get into the semis and Danny get into the final, that's gonna be really good for us. Hopefully, that means that people kind of like take our opinions on board, so we've proven ourselves in the national circuit. And reason number three, the most important reason, this boy's my ticket to America. He better bloody win this game.
Yeah.
I want to go to America. So obviously, when he won, I was over the moon, really happy for those three reasons. This is absolutely great. And then the judge came and broke my heart.
Yeah.
And said, no, only the winner gets to go. Even second place gets nothing. Even the second place guy doesn't even get his ticket reserved for him. Well done. You came second. Hard luck, pal. No new prizes. You get the same prizes as the people that came third and fourth. But you have the added pain of knowing that you lost in the final.
Yeah. But you know, my hotel room floor is always available for you when I fly over. So if you can make your way, you've got at least a little bit of money saved on the hotel space.
Yeah, well, this is one thing we talked about as well afterwards. We're saying like I think they should definitely FFG should do it for at their world event. You have your national championship winners go there for, of course, for free. You have your European and continental championships winners go there for free. But I think the people who finish top four at those events should have a ticket reserved for them, and they should have a cut-off date where it says like you have this date to buy your ticket. If you don't buy your ticket, then the ticket will go into general sale. Because obviously, like it's just a lottery now. It's a lot. If I got the money to go, and want to go to America, it's now a lottery for me whether I'll be able to get a ticket. And it's the same as well for the guy who came second. Sorry, I really can't remember his name. What's the name of the chap who came second? He is one of our patrons. Sin. Yes, I really should know. I'm sorry. I gave you a high five, so it's fine. Yeah, he should definitely have his ticket reserved for him and have a cut-off date of when he can purchase his ticket. So the second best person on that day, and arguably in the UK at the moment, should have a ticket reserved for him. I don't think that would really affect things much for their sales and things, instead of just a load of randos getting them. But that's the end of me talking about nationals. Danny, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I'll wrap
and then
it up.
Then maybe we can have James's voice, because it's nearly been in half an hour, and little James is probably you still awake there, James? He's dead. Right, carry on,
cool.
Danny.
Right, so going back to my top 16, I'll kind of blitz through this. So it turned out that the guy who couldn't make it the next day, which jigged around, so 17th got through into the top 16. So everyone got bumped up a place. So I ended up playing against Simon, regardless of my standings, which was a bit of a feels bad. I didn't, he was saying he was going to give me the win because he said, I could tell you that you really want it. He wasn't too fussed, but I was like, no, we're going to play the game. It's important to play the game, and I totally smashed him 2-0. So was feeling very, very good. It was a good start to the day. He was playing again. He was playing a E Big Vader single diaphasma, which if Vader doesn't roll out them big sticks, then he's just not going to carry you. Next game I played Matt Webb, who's kind of a big. Oh, I'll say yeah. He got top 8. So yeah, he's a big player on the UK scene. Very nice guy. He was playing E Kylo, E Phasma, which is the same deck that I played in the Swiss the day before, because that was versus his wife. And as I said then, I feel like if you're going to take E Kylo, then you take 9s, or if you're going to take E Phasma, then you take Vader. I feel like those characters pair up better and go towards the strategy of kind of like overwhelming your opponent. So went into that game and I won that one 2-0 as well, and I was like, oh boy, I'm in the top 4. I've won my General Grievous mat, I've got my little bit of perspex. I should play the winner of the game next to me, and find out that Leighton's already won it. So we have a short run to McDonald's, and that was all a big palaver where I couldn't take the McDonald's into the venue, and so I had to eat outside, and I was late for my game, and it was great fun. So me and Leighton sat down. And as you said, it really went my way. I remember he called out that because I had re-rolled a right baton on Kylo, that I couldn't then say a colour. But he said it was such confidence, I decided not to read Kylo's card. And turns out I could have. So very important rule, people. Make sure you read and fully understand your cards.
Or very importantly, if you really think you know the rule and it's wrong, say it in such confidence your opponent believes you.
All that. But it didn't matter anyway, because I still smashed him 2-0, just like I have in almost every tournament I've ever played Leighton in. Nothing? Ooh, I thought he'd bite. And then so
I said I've already conceded. You are a better player of this game than me, but I'm quite content in my placing and the fact that I have defeated you in a final in a tournament before, and when we play test, it's a lot more even than when it comes to tournaments.
yeah,
I think
agree.
I'm a good sparring partner for you, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
I was trying to explain to someone recently when it comes to like at least the store tournaments that we used to go to. I feel like one of those, those fish that sort of eat the bacteria off sharks and they like let them do it because you two always meet in what the equivalent to semis are, and one beats the other, and one of you ends up first, and I sort of slot in second between the two of you and take the little prizes. I love it.
So we're like crocodiles with our mouths open. You're the little birds cleaning our teeth.
That's another great analogy. There you go. And it works. It's a great system.
It is. Like a lot of our early tournaments, it was either me or Leighton first, James second, and then the person who lost fourth. So it's a good system. I feel taking 3 of the top 4 at most of our tournaments. It's a good feeling. So after I beat Leighton, I looked right and saw it wasn't a Pomaz. It was a Vader Guard versus Elite Palpatine, and I was like, I've got this. Palpatine just needs to win, and I just win by default. It's going to be great. So Palpatine does win his game, so it's me versus Elite Palpatine. I'm in the zone. I've got Kylo, it's 2 damage every turn. I've got FN, who's going to do ridiculous damage. Palpatine's just going to die, no question about it. So some of you have probably heard the story before, but I'm going to say it again because I love this story. I feel like it's a really good finale to what was such a great tournament. I, sit down, draw my cards, it's all looking good, activate Kylo, say blue because I'm playing up against a Palpatine. Easy. Pull a card. Oh, it's Doubt. Okay, well, he's going to be running 2 Doubts. Maybe hold out blasters. It's going to happen. It's fine. I'm not worried. So do some damage. We carry on. Next round, activate Kylo. Pull a card. Oh, it's Doubt again. That's unlucky, but it's fine. Like there's a lot of rounds. We'll carry on. So, keep doing FN shenanigans, dealing loads of damage. Next round, pull a card. Oh, it's Doubt for a 3rd time. And by this point, I was already pretty nervous by playing in the finals, but I probably tilted myself by this point of
and everyone around is rolling around laughing. Say Grey! Say Grey!
Yeah. In hindsight, yes, Grey would have definitely been a good shout to say. But I was never going to say it. Even the next round when I pulled it again. And so that was 4 Doubts in the first round. But we had a really nice finish to that game where he played overconfidence to try and knock some damage off. And if I rolled back into a 2 melee side, then I'd won the game, which I did. So Palpatine played overconfidence. I said overconfidence is your weakness. And then Simon, one of our +2 modifiers, just in his best Palpatine impression went, "Your faith in your friends is yours." That's a terrible Palpatine impression. But I just really loved the Palpatine playing overconfidence and then it not working out for him. I really like that theme. And that's like one of those moments that really makes me love Star Wars Destiny. So, okay, 1-1-0. It's easy. Just got to win one more game. I beat Palpatine and I didn't even pull a blue card. So, this game, he's not going to hoard Doubt in his hand now. So, I've got him. So, activate Kylo, pick a card. Oh, it's Doubt. And I am absolutely triggered by this point. Like, I've drawn for Doubt 5 times. So, we carry on playing. I think in this game, I managed to pull 2 blue cards by activating Kylo. But he did a huge no mercy play from the 3-for-1 on a Mind Probe and took Kylo out, and it was just too much damage for FN then to pick up. I just couldn't get the resources and the weapons going. So I went 1-1, which I was surprised at. I should have been hands down. This should be an auto win for me. But, Destiny is a game of variance, and this is why we have best of 3s. So we went into the 3rd game. And I think I pulled Doubt once in that game, but I think I pulled blue cards probably about 2 or 3 times. And that game wasn't close. It went the way that the matchup should. And, I took the win. And Sim was, really nice about it. He was laughing the whole way through every time I kept pulling Doubt. And, he's a great guy. We had chatted him to a lot of Europeans as well, and he's well deserved. Second place winner there, and really glad that he did so well. But I'm obviously even more glad that I won myself, and I'll be heading over to Worlds next May, and get to meet up with all you lovely American fans out there. So I think that kind of wraps up my.
That sums up the UK experience. I'm sure we'll you can find our deck list. There was various articles that had our deck list on it, and I'm sure maybe we will on the YouTube video post up our amended versions with the cards, because like I said before, I'm definitely going to be taking my Plasma Vader deck into tournaments. Like we might be possibly heading to Whaling Games next week.
Yeah.
For an event there, so I probably might take my boy and girl down.
Yeah, sounds like a good plan.
Cool.
We've only got about 10-15 minutes left, so we might need to cut. We'll probably cut Mace Windu and then carry on with our cards from the new set, and then gives us more content to talk about on the next episode, which hopefully will be a bit more frequent than this one was.
Okay, so we'll go into talking about the 3 cards that we want to chat about from the latest set. So I'll kick off straight away. And so the first card I want to chat about is a Hidden Agenda. So Hidden Agenda is a 1-cost yellow neutral upgrade, which reads, before you play an event, you may discard this upgrade from play to decrease the cost of an event by 2. So yellow is continually being one of the strongest colours. Yellow is just so good. I definitely think with the inclusion of the 2-player set, and there now being more red and yellow and blue cards, that the yellow cards have really upped their game again in this set. Some of the applications I like of this card is, well, it's paying a resource to get a great reduction later. It works really well with those big 3-cost events. And the great thing about it as well is it's not color specific to the event that you discard the Hidden Agenda for. So it allows you to play a card, and a card that I've always wanted to really try and play is Decisive Blow. So this allows you to get Decisive Blow out for 1, which can completely wreck an opponent's turn. Other really good cards as well that don't tend to see play because they're so expensive is cards like Reversal. I think it'd be really good with Reversal, and also you could maybe even play it with cards like Never Tell Me the Odds, if you have Infamous out there as well to give yourself ambush. So I think Hidden Agenda has got so many good implications, and that's just with the 3-drop cards. I mean, again, with your 2 and your 1 drops, that if you're out of money and you really need that money for some removal, if you look at your opponent's board, you're like, oh man, they've got lethal. If only I'd have not spent that buck on resolving that dice, or not spent that buck on putting this upgrade on, then now you've got it at the time you really need it. So I think Hidden Agenda is a card that is almost going to be an auto include for most of my yellow decks, be it hero or villain. Next card I'm going to chat about, or do you boys want to anything you want to say about Hidden Agenda? Any things I might have missed out on?
No, I think you've covered everything.
Yeah, you've covered it. I think. Yeah, it goes well, like you say, pretty much because it's neutral as well. I think you'll see it in a lot of decks, and it was something that I sort of didn't really look at until you sort of vouched for it the way you have now. And yeah, you're right. You found a bit of a gold mine there potentially.
So the next card I want to talk about, because it's absolutely bonkers and needs to be nerfed, is Buyout. So Buyout is a 0-cost villain event, which reads, you spend any number of resources, then discard cards from the top of an opponent's deck equal to the number of resources you just spent. So this card off the bat needs to be limited 5 maximum, 100%. And from playing against a deck that uses this card, which is the Thrawn card, I don't know if any of you guys checked out the Knights of Ren, their 1-year anniversary stream. So I played against Suji, and he managed to buy out for 15 cards, half of my deck in 1 card, because Thrawn card is all about making money. You've got the +2 modifier on your on-card, and then Thrawn has 2 resources, right? If I think correctly, yeah, he's got 2 resource side. So it's not hard for them guys to amass resources. Hound's Tooth as well is another way for them to get resources. The Chance Cube has a 3 resource side on it. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. Now, I like there being a mill archetype in the game. I like mill in other games. I think it's an archetype, a fun archetype to play. And when you play against it, you have to play slightly differently. You end up, if you're like a traditional, if we say damage deck, you end up getting a lot of cards in your deck which may be then have no effect now because your opponent isn't doing damage on you. So it feels bad sometimes to mitigate a 2 resource die, but you have to when playing against this sort of card. But just it's so ridiculously oppressive when there's only really one tool in the game at the moment which punishes a player amassing resources, and that's fair trade. But who plays fair trade? Fair trade is a card that if Palpatine is suddenly like the meta, you maybe stick a fair trade in to stop them from getting a rise again. But it's a card. There's so now with 3 sets and a 2-player set, there's so many cards. And with a 30-card deck, it's hard to find these tech cards to go into decks. I think Rend is a really good card to put in decks at the moment because it hits so many good targets in 2 types of matchup. It helps in mirror matches if you're playing in villain or against heroes with their force speeds. If they're playing blue, it hits those holocrons. There's other 0-cost upgrades that it can hit. And also, if you're playing against the red villain, it can hit against those period inspections. And also another card, which I'm surprised we're not talking about, running interference, which is an absolute mad card. It hits the running interference as well. So Rend has definitely got a place, but you're not going to put fair trade in the counter against buyout. And I know you're saying, you might be saying, okay, how often is a player going to get a lot of resources and stuff to play it? But if you're playing buyout, you're playing the money game. And it's the worst thing in the world. I just literally flipped my deck over, took the top 3 cards off, the bottom 3 cards off it. And that's like round 4 or 5 or something ridiculous. It's a good card, but it's just too good, especially as it costs nothing. Like I say, it needs to be limited to like 5 maximum. Because if you look at the other mill cards you've got in the game, we've got loose ends, which mills 4 for a. You have to have a melee die, a ranged dice to do that. There's no disintegrations, which does 1 or then does 2. Is it 2 if there's another on your discard?
3, I think.
3. So you got a card there's a 3 and a 4, and now suddenly you've got essentially an infinite one. It's just a bit too much.
And 5 being kind of the optimal number there, because that's a turn, right? You cut 5 cards out of someone's deck. That's 1 less turn they have.
Yeah, and if they're playing, and because they're playing against a mill deck, they're caught in that 2 minds. I've rolled out my character. Oh my god, I didn't hit damage. I don't want to discard a card from my hand because it's helping his win condition. But if I don't, I'm not doing nothing this turn. So I'm still going to discard. So you still on your turn discard for rerolls to hit those damage. So yeah, you're still making your deck smaller every turn when you're drawing those 5 cards. Like say 5 is that magic number, and I definitely think this card needs to be limited by 5. The one good thing about it is, in big long events like nationals and regionals, mill is not a archetype you see because it does require a lot of thought and a lot of skill to pilot. Excuse me. It's not an archetype of deck which a lot of players can jump on, can look at that list online and go, yeah, I can play that deck. It requires a lot of practice, a lot of skill. So therefore, I don't think you're going to see it very much in big events. But therefore, maybe that's an argument for why it doesn't need to be nerfed. But when it happens against you, it's it's just the worst feeling. Yeah. It's the worst. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. Anything you want to play that, James? Because you played a bit of Jabba before.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to make mill work, as most people know. Mill and control work in Awakenings and even a bit in Spirit Rebellion as well. But it's not really had that killer card. I think Thrawn's come in and he's pretty awesome, and it's kind of cool to see how like amassing resources instead of like getting 3 off with Unkar or just the disc outside is like it's like a new sort of mechanic, if you like. But I think you're right, like when it's so easy to get that many resources, like it's not uncommon to hear about on the weekend someone bought out for 10 or 11 or 12 and you're like, that just kills off a game essentially. Like I feel like it was made in good heart for mill players, for people that wanted an alternate way to play, like myself. But I think they've just been a bit haphazard with it, if you know what I mean. I think they've been a bit too gung-ho about it, is my opinion.
Yeah. I'd even be satisfied if it was limit 8, even limit 10. It needs a limit basically, because
I think you're right. Like the nearest comparison we've got is it's not even no disintegrations, it is loose ends, and with that you have to roll a range damage, not let it get removed for a turn, and remove that die, and also pay 2, and that does 4 cards. And that for me was amazing. I thought that was an awesome card. And Spirit Rebellion, I was like, Mill was viable. Mill wasn't viable, but it was the closest thing we've got. And also we've got this character that can do that fits perfectly double dice with Unkar, they were made to be together literally. And they, like you say, he's got a 2 resource side, and there's a +2 on Unkar. In a given turn, you could end up with like, I don't know what's that, 8 resources from them plus the 2 you start with. It's literally turn 2 you can buy out for 10.
Yeah, turn 2, a third of a deck gone.
Yeah, it's silly. It is silly.
Yeah, a couple of things I just want to add is that it's even worse because you can cheat buyout back from your discard pile back into your hand, so you can play 4 buyouts in a game. So even if you do limit it to 5, you could still buy out for 20 over the course of a game, which is very strong. But the big answer to this card, I feel, is Friends in Low Places. If you can catch the buyout before they amass the large resources and only get them to buy out for 4 or 5, then it kind of gives you that kind of like extra 2 turns, extra turn to really
you've also
see
got
it through.
Abandon or Hope as well, which they choose resources or hand.
They'll pick their hand. They'll pick their hand. If they've got 15 resources, they'll pick their hand, and then let's say they just cheat or get another buyout back. So,
The other big answer is that if you're playing Yellow Villain, you can play Coercion and force them to play their buyout early as well. Because obviously if you play Friends in Low Places, you discard the card, you don't play it. So kind of get mixed up with Coercion there. But yeah, Coercion would allow you to force a lower point buyout. But other than that, it's really oppressive, and we can only hope that Thrawn card just gets absolutely nuked by really big damage decks and doesn't become tier 1. Because if Thrawn card becomes tier 1 with 4 buyouts, it's going to be a painful game.
There's just something about Mill that it really rubs me up the wrong way. When back in the day when I used to play Pokemon a lot, there was this deck that used Durant, and it was a Mill deck, and it was just the worst thing to play against. It really was, and it was it was horrible. It was horrible. But anyway, I'll go to my final card.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Were you going to say something, Danny?
No, I was going to say, I think we should move on to your... I think we've chatted about the buyout to death.
So my final card is going to be Endurance. So Endurance is a 1-cost neutral event, which states you play if one or more... So play only if one or more of your dice were removed during an opponent's last turn this round. Roll one of those removed dice into your pool. So this is one of the cards I put into my new Plasma and Vader deck. Because that deck is so dependent on the character dice, and so is Palpatine. So Palpatine also loves this. Your opponent is going to remove dice. They'll pay a resource normally, pay a resource and a card to remove one of your most important dice. Well, you pay a resource and a card and get it back. So it's almost like you've gone toe to toe, and there's no massive tempo swing lost from getting it back. You've both, you've rolled in that dice, you've got something that you really want on it, or even they just preemptively, like for instance, if you're Vader, you might be playing if you're Vader and they get rid of one of the Vader dice, and you've got that 4 striking hand, and you're like, oh man, I was going to turn that blank into 3 and smack you in the face. No, they've had to, let's say, play a resource, play a card, or even if they've played cards like Loftcat, or he doesn't like you, they've had to play a card and lose a dice to remove one of your dice. I think that trade-off of playing a resource and a card to get that dice back is worth it, especially but only if you have ways of then turning that dice into something that you want. So like I say, in the Big Daddy Vader, if you've got the 4 strike in hand, you're going to want to get it back, because Vader loves rolling 2 disrupt. He doesn't often hit the sticks. But if I'm playing the new Vader with Phasma, for instance, and I've got my battlefield, and I can see that my opponent is still got options, and they're not going to claim to deny me the battlefield, I'm definitely going to get that dice back in. I'm not really going to mind what it rolls into, because I can just claim to turn it to big damage. So I think Endurance is a very solid card. Anyone else got any opinions on Endurance?
It's good. I think is it neutral? It's grey neutral, isn't it?
Grey neutral, yeah. So we can go hero
in absolutely everything. Yeah, I think we'll see that quite a lot, especially with the big characters like Daddy Vader and I mean maybe even like we were saying earlier, people are starting going on to all these new decks, but the old Poe Matters, get that Poe dice back that people are so desperate to remove. Yeah, I think we'll see it quite a few big character decks.
Yeah, and I feel like that is the only place you're going to see it in these, really big characters where you have, the double dice elite and then normally a single character with them. Obviously, it's amazing in Palpatine because not only do you not really care what it rolls back into because you get the damage and then whatever side you get. It's just going to be really good in these big character decks where you can kind of make sure the die then re-rolls into a side that you need it to be.
Yeah, it's fun characters where the character dice is where they're at. So like characters like FN219 or even like we talked about a new Kylo Ren. The deck isn't so focused on that character dice; it's on the upgrades and what that sort of thing they bring you. But yeah, in those decks where your character dice are your bread and butter and what you want that deck to do, then you want to play Endurance.
Yeah. So James, what's your card?
So I've got a couple of legendaries. So I'll start with my gal, one of my favorite characters from the recent Disney takeover is Sabine Wren. She's a yellow hero, legendary. She's got 11 health, which is, I think, a fairly strong pool of health. And her die sides feel very reminiscent to original Daddy Vader. So it's a 2 ranged, a 3 ranged, a 3 disrupt for 1, a 1 shield, and a 1 resource. She's 15 or 20 for elite. And her ability is just game changing for me. It's like a whole new dynamic to the game, which I'm sure both of you have hated playing against at times. So before you activate her, you may play a weapon from your discard on her, decreasing the cost by 1 if it has the word thermal in its title. So yeah, from the get-go, I just love her because I love her character, and that's who I am. I'm not as competitive, so to speak, as you two. I love just fluffy, cool-looking cards. So yeah, but my favourite thing about her is the new mechanic of playing weapons from discard. It's not really something we've seen before, and just overlaying ambush is just awesome. Like, it's the best thing ever. So I like to play it with smuggling. So you yellow 0-cost event, discard a card from your hand to gain a resource. So like I did it a few times. I got the dream hand of a DL-44, which is Han Solo's blaster, discarding that to the discard, playing like a holdout for the ambush, activating her and then overlaying it with that DL-44 to remove a dice to then roll her in and then resolve because of all that ambush. It's amazing. The double DL-44 is the dream as well, when you can just get 2 DL-44s in hand and you discard one, play the first one and then force them to remove a dice, overlay the second while activating her to remove another dice. I mean, what was it, Leighton, you said that was just ridiculous or something when we were playing. I just think she's great. I think it's the hero that heroes have needed.
Yeah, and like I said before, like when she first came out, people were so transfixed on the thermal part of her ability, and didn't really think about the fact that it's just a weapon. So you haven't got to worry about the reduction. And with the whole mechanic we have in this game of just replacing an upgrade, reducing its cost by the upgrade already there, like you get those heavy blaster pistols on her. And there's one in the discard pile. You just chain them. You just keep moving a die. Every time you activate her, you remove her die, and then you get to resolve or to have another action if need be. And comboing her with running interference as well.
Yeah.
Was ridiculous. There's the times it's like, right, so I can't play a card and I can't activate a character. Okay.
Running interference is nuts.
Yeah, when you had 2 of them on the board, that was pretty horrible.
Yeah, I think there's a misprint on that card though, because it seems to say hero in the bottom left, where I'm pretty sure it should say villain.
That's what I mean. It's the hero that heroes have needed, I think, for a long time.
Yeah. But again, it's saying yellow being that strong colour.
Definitely.
Okay, so who you got next?
So, another legendary character. This time it's the 7th sister. So she's blue, 10 health, 1 melee, 2 melee, 1 disrupt, 1 shield, and 1 resource. And her ability is, after you activate this character, you may roll an ID9 Seeker Droid die into your pool, and then set aside it after it's been resolved or removed. So again, the sister for me, I've chosen her because, I mean, again, I love her artwork. The character's pretty awesome in Rebels as well, but the artwork for me is just awesome. It's one of the best artworks we've seen, I think, for a character. And what I like about the mechanic as well, I'm going to go back into this mechanic, is it seems like an upgraded mechanic from Krennic's, which is obviously you roll a Death Trooper die in if you've got the battlefield. So it's kind of cool to see like the evolution of the game and seeing some more of these interesting sort of alternate mechanics, if you like. And it's just like everything about it is really fluffy, which is what I love, obviously, because she's got all these seeker droids in the show, and there's loads of them. They're kind of like vultures almost in a way. So the idea of just getting one out instantly, and then you've got 2 more in your deck to throw on and have 3 is great, especially when you've got cards like Feint. If you pair her with another red card to not activate it but keep her ID9 seeker droid die in the pool and then activate it again, then you've got like an extra die in the pool. I don't know. It's just really cool, and I think she's really well costed as well. So she's not like what we're talking about a lot this podcast, where we're talking about all these big characters and heavy hitters like Sabine, like Big Daddy Vader and all that. But she just costed so perfectly, I think, for what she does. And again, the artwork is awesome.
Yeah.
See, are you sure it works with Feint? Because I know Feint says you activate one of your characters and you may remove all of its character and upgrade dice on it.
Yeah.
The ID9 dice is an upgrade dice. It's not an upgrade in play. But, the upgrade is not in play, but it's still an upgrade dice.
It's not an
It
upgrade.
doesn't return to its. Yeah, it doesn't return to her card. It's completely separate to that, so it stays in the pool because Feint removes them back to the card that they're from, essentially. So ID9 just stays in the pool.
Yeah, I see your point that it is an upgrade die, but it's not an upgrade that's played on Seven Sisters, so it was not removed.
Yeah, it's come from the what's that, Lost Zone, where it's got a name for it, isn't it, that zone now? The set aside zone, isn't it? What's called?
Yeah, that's it, set aside zone. So what do you guys think about her?
Well, I like it with Grievous, and again, if you guys watched the Knights of Ren video, I played Elite Grievous 1/7 Sister. So I think she's a good pairing to him because essentially you've basically got an elite character for 11 points. The ID dice, obviously, ID9 dice isn't exactly like hers. It's a Jack of all trades dice. It's got melee, focus, disrupt, discard, and shield on it. But it gets stronger for each ID you have in play. And a character like Grievous, who's got 3 melee sides, he loves a focus. He loves a good focus to get those, to confirm and to guarantee damage. So I think she's a great character. 10 health's a good number for 11 points. I don't think I'd play her elite, but there's not really a great deal of parenting to stick with elite.
The pairing I would go with her is Elite 7th Sister with 2 Magma Guards. I don't know, how on its competitiveness yet. I've not actually played it, but if you play Magma Guards, it lets you play the Feints. It lets you put the Electrostas on the Magma Guards, so you have to pay for their sides. And it also lets you play like Best Defenses and Cannon Fodders. And obviously, if they Best Defense them, then they won't actually die till the end of the round. You can also then play Price of Failure, so that doesn't then defeat them till the end of the round. So I feel like there's something there with 2 Magma Guards. Whether how great that's going to be, probably not amazing, but I think it'll be a fun deck to play.
26 health.
It's kind of like the old Django Trooper deck where you just got these 2 guys that are there to just soak damage and keep that central character alive while they try and dish out the damage, but. It's whether or not that the Seeker Droid synergy, if they actually play out to be any good or not.
Yeah. So moving on to my last card is a grey hero event. It's 1 cost. It's called Defiance, and it's again I love it for the artwork. It's got Princess Leia on the front, and it's reroll one of your character dice, then heal damage from that character equal to the value showing on that die. And as you probably already guessed, this guy's great with Sabine because she's got 3 sides and a 2 side, and it's brilliant. So it sort of continues, like I said, my love of artwork and fluff, and re-rolling a blank Sabine die to 3 damage to heal 3 is just like, my man, like literally is the definition of that.
There was much disappointment that this artwork wasn't a new Leia character, but the disappointment is almost kind of nullified with the fact that it's a really good hero card.
Yeah, especially when you've got Second Chance active and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to keep healing. So like where I'm pairing Sabine at the minute with the new Poe, you get access to things like Field Medic, and you've got the new Impersonate if you like as well, and Second Chance, and even Draw Attention if you want to go down that route. You've got so much things that move and nullify damage and it just feels like a different sort of slower kind of aggro where you're just like, that's fine, I'm just going to keep healing. Like, and I really like that sort of theme for heroes, to be honest. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's a great card. I mean, if you've got good dice out there that aren't on the side you want, you're gonna want to re-roll them. So why not re-roll them and get a benefit from it? I know you can obviously re-roll all your dice. There's a particular dice you have to re-roll, but healing is always going to be strong. There's so many characters that's going to be good with that have got more sides with more than one value. So characters like Mace Windu, for instance, he obviously really likes this card. If he hits his 4, he's laughing. So it's definitely for those characters that have, like I say, multiple sides with a value greater than 1.
Yeah, I feel like you want at least 50% of your die to be 2 cost, because at least then you're getting a field medic. And sometimes you might re-roll it into a blank or the 1, but then for 1 you can play field medic, which heals for 2. So I feel like if you've got a 50% chance of that happening, and you can re-roll your die into something better, then I can see the value that it's got there.
I've always wanted to make Jin work, and now with Hidden Agenda, she could maybe have a new little place in this as well. She's got 3 2 sides on her dice, so that's basically like you say, a reroll and a field medic all into 1.
Yeah,
definitely.
So my 3 cards, I've been playing a lot of blue hero. So my first one is the Jedi Instructor, who is a non-unique blue hero. 1 ranged, 1 melee, 1 focus, 1 shield, 1 resource, and a blank. She's 8 points with an ability. After you activate this character, you may turn one of your character die to a side showing the same symbol as this die. So I've been playing her with Elite Kanan and single die Padawan. And when you roll the focus on her, and you can flip Kanan's die to a focus, and then like next action you can do some crazy things when Kanan's showing a focus. Being able to resolve it and then take an action is very strong. And the melee and the gun size just makes things like light bow and Kanan's die and the Padawan's die just a bit more consistent, getting the damage out. The shield side is almost a blank. It feels bad, but again, also resource sides. There are times when, even with all the new point reduction that heroes have, with Reaping the Crystal, and obviously still binds, and you can still play weapons cheap on Padawans. Sometimes resources do come in handy as well. I've been playing her over Rey in that deck because everyone kind of jumps to Rey because, she's a big action cheat, and with Kanan's action cheating, you're so quick. I think with the meta at the moment, you don't need to be quick. Everyone's playing these really long vehicle decks, mill decks that, if you can resolve all your actions in 3 actions and then you claim, you're just letting your opponent go to town on you after that. She's got 1 less health, but I feel that her ability is a bit more impactful and adds some consistency to the rest of the deck. I think, that kind of sums it up for me. What, you guys got any opinions?
Yeah, I played against that deck against you, and you can get the. You were playing against my Hera Vehicles deck, which is another quite slow deck that allowed you to have the time to do stuff. So I like to play against another deck that's a bit faster. But yeah, you can do some absolutely crazy things with Kanan, especially again this ability to resolve one of his dice before you take your action. And like you say, she shares 3 really good sides. Well, 2 good sides with Kanan, because obviously he's got the 2 melee as well, hasn't he? So you can just roll her out and turn Kanan into 2 melee. So it definitely helps with consistency. And 9 health's a good number, because obviously that Jedi Acolyte, he's 7 health.
Yeah, 8
I
maybe.
think.
But
so I just think 9 is sort of is a good health pool number. A Jedi Acolyte's 7 health. Yeah, well, for 9 points. So 1 point more and 2 health less. So I think it's she's definitely I think she's an underlooked character.
Right, so my next card it's a nice simple one. It's lightsaber pull. It's spot a blue character, search your deck for a blue weapon, reveal it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. Search cards are great. I was playing against a guy earlier who was playing Rey, Elite Kanan, Padawan, He wasn't playing lightsaber pulls because he said it was too slow. I kind of pointed out to him he's playing Kanan and Rey, so taking the extra action isn't a big deal. Especially when you can remove like the second Rey saber and the second Luke saber and just put in lightsaber pulls in their place. So it still lets you pull one of those unique sabers if you want it, but it also lets you pull out light bows, ancient sabers, and the new Chateau lightsaber from the current set. Yeah, lightsaber pull is really, really good, and will be in almost any. Well, will be in every blue deck that wants to play weapons.
I mean, how many times you've been like, I really need a weapon here, or it'd be really good, like especially with ancient lightsaber and the heal. You're just so good. You can play your ancient lightsaber, get some damage out of it. Or my character's a bit low. Okay, I'll heal. Then I'll play lightsaber pull that next action, and I'll play it again, and then I'll heal again. It can be. I can see who you're saying about the speed part of it, but deck thinning and pulling what you want, tutoring as we used to call it in Magic the Gathering is just so good, so good.
Have you got anything to add there, James? Or
no, you've covered it really, isn't it? It's just a really strong card.
Yeah.
I think something that we've all sort of touched on with our own cards and just generally throughout the episode is that there's a lot of cool or uncool in the case of buyout new mechanics that they're introducing to the game, which I think is really healthy for the game and really healthy for the meta. So buyout lightsaber pull is just another example of that.
Yeah, so my last card is probably is going to make every yellow villain deck a 28 card deck. It's Coercion. It's spot a yellow character to reveal your opponent's hand and choose an event from it. They must then play that event as their next action if able. So the big thing I want to point out with this card is, yes, it's disgusting, but it doesn't force you to play that event as your next action. So you can pass isn't an action, so you can just keep passing and wait to use the opportune moment. If they go, okay, I'm going to make you emergency evacuation or your dice, you can just keep passing until they roll in, and if they pass, then you've not lost anything because you would have lost all your die anyway. Obviously, you've got to kind of read the game and see how the turn's going, but whenever you get coerced, just think, do I want this to happen now? Or if I pass twice and get him to roll out, then I can remove some of his die. Is that better? And it's probably something that not a lot of people have talked about with Coercion, that, pass isn't an action, so it allows you to really kind of slot that card in where it needs to go.
Yeah, I had it against Suji again in the Knights of Ren anniversary. He coerced me, and the only real good target he had there was Doubt. So I just passed until he rolled out. I mean, he always playing against the wrong card, but if I could just, instead of just being like, right, Doubt, I'll start doing my turn, I just figured I'd just pass until a turn where Doubt might actually be helpful. So yeah, you can keep passing. Passing is definitely an option. And there's some cards you got to think, well, I'll just take it. Like for instance, if you're playing against a guns deck and they pick your clash and you haven't got any dice out on the table yet, just think, yeah, okay, I'll just take the clash now, and then obviously nothing happens from it, but at least then they'll have their next action and you can start playing. So you lose that one turn, tempo, and lose that card. But yeah, like Danny says, you just got to read the game, read the board, read what's going on in the matchup. And sometimes pass could definitely be your best option.
Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah,
it's a great card. Like Danny says, it's so easy to build yellow villains now because all you got to do is put 28 cards in.
Well, and he doesn't like you, so maybe it's a 26 card deck.
Yeah. So you got 26 card deck always, because you always play he doesn't like you. Such a good card.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you want to see us out, Leighton?
Well, are we going to do the quick draw for who wins?
Oh yes. Yeah. Let's
giveaway. So we'll have to unfortunately leave the Mace Windu chat till next time, but we will 100% get Mace Windu.
I've been playing a lot of Mace Trooper. I've got some. I really enjoy that deck. We've got a lot to talk about.
Spend 5 minutes on Mace real quick. There isn't really. I honestly don't think there's many options you can have with Mace. He's 16, 22, 12-point character. I was just going through the list before we did the show of all the characters you could put him with if you went single die Mace, and they aren't good. So you can go obviously Elite Akbar, Elite Mon Mothma, and a few other characters. Not good. I think if you go for elite Mace, and obviously the options you have there are Padawan, Trooper, or Maz. They're your options. And you got to think about what the yellow, red, or blue gives you. So if you go mono blue, I think that's not a good idea with Mace at all.
No. You can play a weapon cheaper on the pad 1 and then bestow it over, but you're paying 1 to bestow it over, which is what the discount the pad 1 gives you.
Yeah.
I don't think it does anything for you. You've got no mercy. You've got no mercy in heroes, so you've got no benefit to being mono blue, and it's only going to hurt you when you play against new Kylo.
Yeah, and then you've got Maz. Okay, Maz lets you get some speed, get those mace to allow you to roll out your mace and then roll out your Maz and get it resolved. But the deck doesn't really need that speed. And when you're, and then I just think, what does yellow hero really give you on the melee side? And it doesn't really offer you many good tools. Okay, there's coercion and there's now hidden agendas. There are those cards, but I definitely think the best option is a guardian character, and it's with the rebel trooper. So the rebel trooper, though you've got mixed damage side, you're really not playing the rebel trooper for the damage. You're just playing here to be a meat sack. It also allows you to have electro staff, which gets those 4-for-1s for free. And that's what you want. The dream is just to get an electro staff on Mace Windu, and you literally don't care about what happens to your rebel trooper.
I've rolled a 4-for-1 and a +3 on the electro staff to do the 7, and it feels really good.
Yeah, and then what do we love? We also love cards that have 6 sides, with no blank, and survival gear is one, and it's also got a melee. Got +2 melee on this, hasn't it?
It's just a single melee, but yeah,
melee.
it's got a plus resource for its 6.
But you've got some great survivability cards. You've got so it's got a +1 melee, but it's got money. It helps you generate money, and also it's got a focus stone there, which is quite nice. But then on the red side, you've got cards we mentioned before. So you've got Field Medic, you've got Dug In. So Dug In is still a really good card. It doesn't, when you're playing against melee decks, it doesn't do anything unless they get the Vibro Knife. If they don't see the Vibro Knife, it's still 3 shields. And when you're playing against guns, it's just it's just 3 more health each time for a claim. And there'd be times where I would happily just roll out my mace, do the mace, and then not even bother activating my Rebel Trooper to make sure I have that battlefield so I can Dug In next turn. Which also the same argument, you could say defensive position is still a card that you can run with it as well.
Yeah, it gives you access to Field Medic, so you can heal him. So that and Defiance, you've got a lot of healing going.
Yeah, and also you can even play that new red event, which is like the slow version of Force Strike, isn't it? I have you now, is it?
Yeah.
So it's another option you have there for turning Mace into his 4 damage side if you have had a slower turn. Turn it into the 4 and then use it, then resolve it with your electro staff.
Yeah, and if you've got 4 speed out, it makes all these, use the Force, have you now, clash, all these into kind of mini 4 strikes. So
yeah, and also you can put your Force illusions on your Rebel Trooper, roll him in, eat a 3, but just discard 3 cards. So that helps him last a bit longer. And also, the ultimate dream, which I want to see pulled off, is you roll in the mace, you hit the 4-for-1, you play Destiny, and get yourself a Marshal of the Council for free.
Yes, someone did that to me in a game yesterday, and I didn't remove the 4-for-1 because he didn't have any money, and I was like, he's got no money, I don't need to worry about that. I'll remove the 2 damage. And then he Destinied for a Master of the Council, and I was like, cool, not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah, I don't think you run cards like Guard. I don't think you can, because you want the damage. Your mitigation is your meat sack, but then Guard is such a good removal card, so I'm not really. I'm a bit torn on that, other than saying it. But I must feel bad when you guard away one of your mace dice. But on the same side, if you've got the 4th one, you can't pay for it, and you just guard away 4 of your opponent's dice. That's pretty good. So I definitely, I think I haven't got a deck that's built, but I think there's definitely some cards in there that I think red will be your best pairing, and the Rebel Trooper at the moment will be your best pairing with Mace Windu. So there you go. So that was so whom was it again? Who wanted us to have a quick chat? Paul. So I hope that satiates your need for talking about that card enough. Sorry, it was very quick, but this is a very long episode. So we're going to end the episode because we did a giveaway. So for those guys who didn't know, or those guys who didn't know, we did a giveaway where the first place gets to get a store championship Phasma Alt Art mat with a Alt Art Best Defense. Was that what I put on?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's the store champ season stuff.
And then second place is going to win themselves the deck box or deck storage box, which has got the Phasma artwork on it. And there's also going to be a pre-release Arabesh Ray, and I had a spare Arabesh TIE Fighter knocking around, so I figured I'd throw that into the prize pool as well. So Danny, he has put the names in a random name generator. So let's go second place first. So
okay. Let me just check. I'm just gonna in all the preparation I've done, I don't think I've actually got their names.
What in the?
No, because we had to restart the recording.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, because we had everything sorted out, didn't we? So there you go. This is
#production. And of course, it's a name that I'm going to absolutely butcher. So first off, apologies, and I'm sure Leighton or James will jump in and correct this. But it's Nontas Letos.
There's an S in there. I think it's Nontas Lestos. Congratulations, dude.
Congratulations, you've won the second place. So that is the deck box, the old art Ray and the old art TIE Fighter.
Yeah, and then the winner will be Jamie Hutton. Is that right? Is that the name?
That's come through. We'll tag you both on Facebook. Make sure you drop us your address details, and we'll get your prizes out to you as soon as possible.
Cool. Yeah, so thanks very much for participating in the prize, in the competition, in the competition. It's really nice that you guys. Some of you left some quite funny comments, so you're definitely making me chuckle as I was reading through those comments. Stick to the Facebook as the new tournament seasons are run through and the new kits. We're going to go to a few events. So I'm sure we'll get some extras again.
Yeah.
So we love doing a good giveaway. Giving back to the community. It's a good feel.
Makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. I won't be giving away my Nationals trophy though. Sorry to disappoint you all.
So
sorry. I'll be keeping hold of my my top 8 mat and my top 16 tokens. All those prizes I will be keeping. But store championship stuff, we might. Well, we've got regionals and stuff coming up, so we'll see what we get, and then see what we can give away. Also, I will finally be sending out the Patreon supporters of their dice and pad one. As there's still a couple to go, but the ones who have pledged to us, I will get them out to you guys next week. I've just been waiting for enough to come to do a good postage, and we've been talking about maybe getting another card made as well. So
yeah, we've not decided what yet, but.
No, so if you guys want to comment on our Facebook about what character you'd like to see with an alternative art, maybe we'll do a poll. We'll do a poll maybe or something, and you guys can, as we now have over 500 of you like us on Facebook, we've hit the big 500, which feels good, man. So as long as you've not just blocked us, and just liked us for the competition, I'll put a poll up, and then you guys can see what characters you would like an alternative art. But that's enough from me. So thanks very much for listening. Again, sorry for the delay on this episode. Hopefully Danny will get this up nice and quickly, and we'll start getting some more stuff up on the YouTube. I hadn't put the other episodes up because I didn't have access to video editing software anymore, so I couldn't really put them up very easily. But hopefully we'll amend that if that's your preferred channel to listen to us. If not, the SoundCloud and iTunes. And hopefully this will be on Star Wars Destiny, swdestiny.com, because I think there was an issue where our stuff wasn't coming up on that website. But we are still being hosted by them, but for some reason it wasn't coming up. But thanks for listening. That's enough rambling from me. I'll catch you guys later. So you guys want to say your goodbyes? Yeah.
Yes, it's a goodbye from your UK national champion. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.
Oh, God.
The ego ever inflated.
All right, done.